Joe, how's your left knee feeling?
Feels good. Obviously it's not 100% or even close, but for where I'm at, it feels pretty good.
Describe what the rehab process has been like for you thus far.
Oh, the first 2 weeks was pretty miserable. Couldn't really get out of bed on my own or do anything on my own. But around week 3 or 4, I was able to start walking on my own a little bit, and it's starting to feel pretty normal when I'm walking around and doing some body weight squats and stuff like that. So it's moving along.
You said it's not 100%. What percentage would you give your knee right now?
Probably 15. I haven't started running or doing anything like that. I just started body weight squats, so we got a long ways to go.
Joe, Bengals' new offensive line coach, Frank Pollock, has a term, master the mundane. That's what he says a good offensive lineman has to do, is master the mundane. As you're starting the early process of rehab, does that apply to you? You got to master the mundane?
Yeah, I would say that applies to me. Rehab is a long, mundane process, and you got to find ways to spice it up a little bit. But, we're attacking it like I do always, and I think it's going well.
How much pain at this stage? How much pain are you experiencing, if any?
There's still some. If I sit down too long, the knee will start to hurt and it'll start to stiffen up a little bit. But when I'm doing the rehab, there's not much pain at all.
Are you shooting for milestones? Are there 3 or 4 milestones you have in mind? And is there any one you want to knock down here pretty soon?
I'll be able to start throwing around week 12 from surgery, so that'll be around the middle of February. So I'm looking forward to that. That's kind of when the next phase of the rehab is going to start.
We haven't talked to you since the injury. Can you just kind of take us through just your initial thought process when you went down and just those coming days as you were sorting out your surgery and things like that?
It was obviously pretty devastating. It was, I was looking forward to the second half of the year and, making strides personally and as a team. So unfortunately I wasn't able to be out there with the guys, but I'm looking forward to next year now.
I hate to bring it up, but did you go back and watch the play where you got hurt? And if so, what went wrong there?
Yeah, I've watched it a couple times. They just got some penetration.
Joe, it's one of those situations where everything has to be, all the stars have to align as such in terms of having your foot planted and your knee locked and all that sort of thing. I mean, it's literally a tenth of a second, one way or the other, as you're in your throwing motion. It might not be obviously the injury that you experienced. Do you ever think about that, or is that just like a waste of time to think about that stuff?
It's a waste of time, and I'm not even going to answer any more questions about the intricacies of the injury.
Joe, last week you said that one thing you wanted to improve on this offseason was your deep ball. How do you go about doing that?
Just getting bigger and stronger. And with hopefully we have an in-person offseason, and that'll just being able to watch guys run routes. I might not even be able to throw to them, but just having extra time with the guys, understanding how they do it, I think, that won't be an issue next year.
Joe, Zach said that you were staying involved even though you were out while you were injured. I mean, what did that look like, and kind of what was that like to kind of stay involved even though you were away from the team?
Yeah, it was tough to be away from the guys, and especially watching the games on TV. But I don't know. I was in a meeting every Saturday night, and I watched film of the game, every week, just to try to stay involved as much as I could. And Zach and Brian and Pitch, they all made sure I felt included, which I appreciated.
Joe, was Nick Bosa a rehab partner of yours out there on the coast? And if he was, how good was that? And do you have a rehab partner as such, somebody to work with during your phase here in Cincinnati?
He was rehabbing at a different facility, but I went a couple weekends to hang out with he and his brother. So that was good to have some familiar faces out there, and kind of get away from, because for 3 or 4 weeks I was just with my parents in the house hanging out, couldn't really do anything, and then 2 weekends in a row I was able to go hang out with them, so that was good to be with friends.
How about here in Cincinnati? Is there anybody that you're rehabbing with, or you're just solo?
CJ is still here, and Trey, so it's nice to be around some guys who are going through similar things.
Joe, what did you think of the organization's decision to bring Zach back for a third year?
I was excited about it. I think Zach's going to be a really, really good coach. Obviously, we didn't win as many games as we expected this year, and we had a lot of, key injuries that, kind of prevented us from doing that. But, with one more offseason, I think next year is going to be a lot of fun, and we'll take a big step.
You spend a lot of time watching NFL playoff games this past weekend like the rest of us. And do you have a favorite guy, quarterback, among those guys still playing? And what do you learn by watching other quarterbacks play on television, if anything?
You learn a little bit. Watching games, there's always just certain things that you pick up on. Nothing really comes to mind. It's more subconscious. But obviously the guys that are in the still playing are the best right now. And that's where I want to be. So I watched every single game. Hopefully we won't be watching wild card on TV next year.
What's your confidence level like in the offensive line right now? And do you have conversations with coaches about things you'd like to see as far as additions up front and things like that at all?
I think everyone was really excited when we hired Coach Pollock. I don't know him personally. I haven't talked to him, but I know Joe was really excited. He called me fired up, hollering and hooting and hollering, and was very excited. And I know Zach's excited about the hire. So I think he'll do a really good job with those guys, and have full faith in that.
Is it
So what do you like about this?
Is it important to you to see new additions up front out on the line this offseason, though, for you to know that they're working on getting better up there?
No, that's not my decision. That's front office. I'm just the quarterback. So whoever we put out there, we're gonna make it work.
So what do you like about this offense, and what do you think makes it attractive for you, and what do you think it has to do to take the next step?
I think they did a very good job of understanding what I do well, and tailoring it to me early on. And I think I took steps later in the year that allowed us to open up the offense a little bit. But the next step is just hitting on those deep balls, and it's, we're so efficient in the short passing game that when we start hitting on those deep balls, it's gonna be tough to stop us.
Joe, have you had time to reflect on your rookie season? And if so, what are the biggest things that you've learned?
That's every single game is, let's put it this way. When you're up 21-0 against the Colts, you have to keep your foot on the gas pedal. If you're up 21-0 in college, you're probably playing one more series, and then you're sitting on the bench the rest of the game. So you just have to stay consistent with your mindset throughout the entire game.
You have a favorite play or moment from your rookie year?
I wouldn't say I had a favorite play. The first win was fun. It was good to get that, and hopefully there's going to be a lot more.
During this rehab process, are you picking the brains of anybody?
I have a question. In fantasy land, if last year's LSU team would have played this year's Alabama team, who wins and why?
I think everyone knows the answer to that question. Everyone knows what I'm going to say. I don't even have to say it.
Joe, are you during this rehab process? Are there deals? Are you picking? Sorry, I'm just so thrown off by what just happened there. Joe, are you when you're going through this rehab process, are picking the brains of other quarterbacks who have been through similar experiences that you have?
Not too much. It was, I had a lot of people reach out to me when the injury happened, and the NFL is a brotherhood, and that really made me feel loved and accepted by this community. so that was nice. But I haven't really sat down and talked to anybody about the rehab process or anything like that. I'm just kind of going through it on my own.
Joe, everybody was, and I'm sure you obviously more than anybody was, you were excited, I'm sure, to play Baltimore and Pittsburgh a second time. You did get the chance to play Cleveland a second time. When you play a division opponent from first time to second time, how much different did Cleveland approach what they were trying to do against you time 2 as opposed to time 1?
Yeah, they brought more pressure in game 2, kind of a different style of game. We were ahead most of the game the second time, and they were in the first one. So I think the first game they played a little more soft, and the second one they were a little more aggressive.
Along those lines, Joe, how much were you looking forward to maybe facing Baltimore and Pittsburgh again to see what adjustments you could make against those two teams?
I was excited about it. It was going to be a fun challenge. It was good to get the win against Pittsburgh on Monday night. I wish I could have been a part of that, but that was fun to watch on TV.
Zach Taylor said the offense was kind of in a roll in that stretch of games. Indianapolis, Cleveland, Tennessee. Schematically, like, what was the difference in those games and what was working so well?
That's a pretty loaded question. I'm not really. That was a long time ago, so it was. I don't even think I could really answer that question. That was a long time ago. We had some things rolling there at times during the year, and we struggled a little bit sometimes, but we just have to be more consistent.
You said you want to get stronger. Do you want to put on weight? Do you want to be a little heavier? And when do you think you can hit the underwater treadmill?
That'll be around week 10 or 12. I'll start running about half my body weight. And I don't really think about gaining weight as a goal. I think about gaining muscle and getting stronger. Staying lean is big, so I can stay mobile. But getting stronger is more so the goal than gaining weight.
I mean, week 10 to 12 after surgery, right?
Yes, after surgery. So it'll be 6 weeks from surgery on Wednesday. So we got about another 6 weeks till I can start running.
Okay. Thank you.
Joe, there's a lot of questions about the timetable on when you come back. You've obviously said that, you think you're on track to start week 1. When folks were saying, maybe he may not be able to come back for that season opener, did you kind of take that as a challenge? Like, all right, I'm going to definitely attack the rehab and kind of show people that I can do this and be ready for week 1?
Yeah, absolutely. It was, that's been the goal for me from the beginning. They say it's a 9 to 12 month recovery, and the first game is exactly 9 months from my injury. So, we're on pace to do it right now. There's obviously a long road ahead, and there's opportunities for setbacks along the road. But as far as right now, it's looking as good as it could for where I'm at in the rehab process.
Joe, the fact that you keep yourself in the shape you keep yourself in, and you're flexible, you're young, all those things that go along with it. Do you feel like, I'm not saying rehab is going to be a breeze by any stretch of the imagination, but do you feel like, you're going to be like the best rehab patient the Bengals have ever seen? You're going to set right in that area too? That's the goal in everything I do. I want to be the best. I'm past the worst part. The first 2 weeks, you got to get your motion back. So they're tugging and pulling on it, and it's pretty miserable. So I'm past all that. It's kind of, all downhill from here. There's a lot of milestones to hit and a long road ahead, but it's not going to be painful or anything like that. So the worst part is over, and the fun part begins.
If the league gets back to normal and there is a preseason, would you move up your goals, or would you be comfortable jumping in there week 1 of the regular season, having already done that as a rookie?
I don't think I would be ready for the preseason. I think I would, get in practice and see how it feels and get confident through that. Not in the preseason. I think preseason is probably pushing it a little bit, but that week 1 goal is mine. Joe, you've never had an injury like this one, but have you been hurt before where you have had some sort of rehab? Have you ever been through this process at all, or is it all brand new? I had a shoulder surgery after my junior season at LSU, labrum. But that was, they say I healed really fast from that. I had surgery in January and played every snap of spring ball. So, I've always been kind of a fast healer. We'll see how this goes, when we get closer to the season, but I'm very confident that I'll be ready to go.
So we just watched Devonta Smith chase down a bunch of records that you and Chase put up down there at LSU. What made your connection with Jamar Chase so good when you were down there with him?
Jamar's a really good player. It's pretty easy to throw to him when he's, has 5 yards of separation every snap. He's an exciting player and a great guy and a friend as well. He was fun to play with.
I assume you'd be okay with potential reunion in Cincinnati if that were to happen.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind.
Will you be parked in front of the TV on draft night, or just text me and tell me who we got?
I think I'll be watching. The draft is an exciting experience for a lot of people. I've always enjoyed watching it.
Aside from your rehab outside of football, any other interests or things on your plate for this offseason?
I started reading some books. You have a lot of time on your hands when you're just sitting in bed all day. So I started reading Matthew McConaughey's Green Lights book. It's very good. I highly recommend it. I got into some chess during quarantine and picked it back up a couple weeks ago. So that's what I'm doing right now, I guess.
You did mention you were watching Queen's Gambit before you got hurt. I started it after you got hurt. So now I want to. What did you make of this? What was your impression of Queen's Gambit?
I enjoyed it. Did you enjoy it?
I loved it. I think Jay and I both watched it. I think we were big fans. It was good stuff. What did you like about it the most?
Oh, I don't know. I just like chess. Chess is fun. It's very strategic and you can plan out your moves. That kind of calls to me.
That's how you kind of approach football. Have you already started off-season dialogue with the coaches? With Zach, the coordinator, your quarterback position coach. Have you already dived into that aspect of your football in the off-season?
Yeah, they came over to the house on Sunday night to watch the Pittsburgh and Cleveland game. So I got back on Sunday evening, and then they came over to watch that game. So that was fun, and we talked about the season and the upcoming season, and just hung out. So that was good.
Was there any rooting interest in that game?
Say again?
Was there any rooting interest in that game?
We have the teams that we like and the teams we don't like.
The team social media component sent out a video of you returning to the facility yesterday. I couldn't help but notice you were wearing shorts. I know you're an Ohio guy, so the cold doesn't really affect you. Was there any kind of message you were trying to send, if any, by wearing shorts, showing people your knees, your?
I would love to be wearing sweats, but I would have to come in and just take them right off. So I just wear shorts everywhere now for rehab. I guess it'll be fun when I can wear sweats again. I enjoy sweats.
Joe, you've talked about this a little bit in interviews that you've done the last couple of days, but you went from a team that won the national championship to a team that had 2 wins in your 10 starts. I mean, what did you learn about yourself in that process that maybe surprised you a little bit?
There wasn't really any big philosophical questions going on in my head during the season. It's so on to the next game, on to the next game prep, on to the next practice. So there's not a lot of time to sit back and relax, and then the injury happened. So I haven't really had a lot of time to, sit back and think about how good or poorly we did this year. Obviously, we didn't win as many games as we would have liked, but I think hopefully that's the last time we win 2 games in the first 10 games. So I think next year is going to be exciting.
One last question. I know Tyler Dragon has one. Go ahead, Tyler.
Joe, off-field question. What are your thoughts on the attempted coup attempt that happened last week?
I mean, things are just crazy in the country right now. I can't believe that happened. It was a very dark day in the history of the United States. And, I don't really know the intricacies of it. I wasn't paying attention too much. I just know, a group of people broke into the Capitol, and, I didn't seem like there were a lot of security and a lot of riot busters like there were this summer. So that's very telling to me, but it's very unfortunate that happened.